life travels at its own speed and carries its own meaning. When we will reach the end, none of us knows. So we run on until our seasons come to a finish. And what matters is not only how we reach that line, but why.
I knew that she needed to finish. It's within her to finish. But it's purely determination which allows you to finish.
Jim Tracy has coached runners at San Francisco University High School for the last 18 years, winning 7 state championships, tied for most in California history. He ran 10 miles a day, every day, until 4 years ago.
I was out running one day, and my left foot started to make a slapping noise. And sure enough, that got worse and worse, and finally, the foot refused to lift itself at all, finally. And now I can't run at all.
Tracy has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, a fatal neurodegenerative condition. 61 years old, his muscles are shutting down. There is no cure.
This progression, is bound to either ruin my life, by making me completely unable to do anything, or just make my life hard enough to be a greater challenge.
Before the 2010 season began, against Tracy's wishes, school officials told the team about his disease.
I was the first one to start crying. My fear was I didn't know how long he could live with this disease.
When you lose something, and you lose it a little bit and a little bit and a little bit at a time, at some point you realize that it's not coming back. Because I've run 1,000,000 miles. I've run 1,000,000 hills. I live in San Francisco, this city of hills. But if I go down the slope all the way, I have a feeling I'm not getting back up. And I'll miss that. I'll miss the climb to the top.
That fall, Tracy's team supported him the simplest way it could, by winning. Just before the 2010 California State meet, with a record 8th championship at stake, the girls gathered around their captain.
Owen brought us all together and we huddled into a very close circle and just like, all right guys, let's do this for Jim.
Let's do it for Jim. Do this for Jim.
Do it for Jim.
That's the reason we were there. We just knew that we needed to do it for Jim as a team.
1, 2, 3, go Big Red!
The race would be unlike any Tracy's team had ever run. While 4 of university's runners were finishing strong, Holland Reynolds, the team's captain, was surprisingly still on the course, with the championship on the line.
I felt good until about 2.5 mile mark. And at that point, I was in second place. All of a sudden, my breathing got faster and faster, and I slowed down. And I didn't really realize how many people were passing me.
Finally, the athletes start coming in, okay? And I see Bridget and I don't see Holland. And instantly, I knew there was something really wrong.
In the final half mile of the course, Reynolds became dehydrated and disoriented, barely able to continue running.
It's agonizing watching her. But no sooner gets about 3 yards from the finish line than she just pitches over and falls down.
I don't remember collapsing.
Oh boy, about 5 meters, hopefully she will get back up.
But right after I collapsed, an official came over to me and he let me know that if I wanted to finish the race, I had to either get up and walk through or crawl through, but he couldn't help me right then or else I'd be disqualified.
10 feet away from the line, Reynolds began to crawl.
I do remember looking at the ground and hearing everyone around me.
Such a courageous effort trying to cross that finish.
It never occurred to me that I wouldn't finish. You need to finish, because that's the point.
Reynolds was the team's 5th and last official finisher. She crossed the line in 37th place, immediately taken to an ambulance, treated for dehydration. An hour later, it was official. Her finish had clinched Tracy's 8th state title.
It made him proud to be a coach on our team and to have girls that really care about him and will go to any efforts to do well for him. That's definitely, I think, worth way more than a medal.
She'd never dropped out before. She'd never let the team down, ever, you know. So the need to finish is great. It's like me, I have a physical problem, but I'm not gonna let it stop me from getting somewhere. I'm not gonna make it to the finish line unless we consider death the finish line, but she got there.
Maybe what matters is not only how we reach the line and why, but who crosses that line with us.